This ghost town area was one that demanded courage, patience, and fierce determination to live here. We'll show you this extraordinary location right here on Ghost Towns and More. In southwestern Colorado, among some of the highest places of the Colorado Rockies, is a site where a group of mining camps, settlements, and towns all started up in a location commonly referred to as Burrows Park. Charles Burrows was an early prospector who ventured into the high Alpine Rockies in search of precious ores in 1873, and the area was generally named after him. The Rocky Mountains are renowned for their rich deposits of precious ores, thrust to the surface over millennia by powerful tectonic forces. These immense geological shifts not only shaped some of the world's most breathtaking landscapes, but also unearthed hidden treasures. As the mountains rose, rocky crags split open, revealing veins of valuable minerals waiting to be discovered. Anyone who ventured into these high elevations knew, or found out the hard way, that these high reaches were places to be respected. The winters were unforgiving, and being unprepared for the heavy snows and below freezing temperatures could cost someone their life. Knowing that upward jutted mountain ridges contain some of the most promising discoveries were what drove prospectors in the 1800s to venture further into the wild unknown to see what they could find. When and if they did find a Eureka strike, they had to weigh the cost of all the hazards of setting up camp in the area where they intended to mine. Not only were the forces of nature a threat to anyone who explored these areas, but indigenous peoples who lived and hunted in these areas were on the lookout for those who trespassed on their lands. Raids and attacks on new settlers were common. When Burrows and other prospectors discovered what they were hoping to find, a camp was set up and prospectors began to come. Other camps were started, such as White Cross, Tellurium, Argentum, and Sterling, but as to exactly where each one was located is hard to establish today, as the remains of most of them have long since disappeared. All these camps came into being around the years between 1877 and 1880. A post office was established at Burrows Park in 1880, but the name later changed to White Cross. For the sake of describing the whole area, we'll refer to them all as Burrows Park. Most of what was mined in this area were copper pyrites and argentiferous galena, from which silver was extracted. As the mines were getting established, they were productive and the profitability appeared promising. The next consideration people had to face was whether to stay for the winter or leave before the heavy snows started with plans to return in the spring. It turns out that there were some families who decided to brave the winter months, while a significant number headed down the mountain. Interestingly, it wasn't just some hardy miners who braved the colder months, but their families as well. They had to have sturdy shelters or cabins, a well-stocked supply of firewood for heat and cooking, and enough food storage to get them through several months, as transportation to and from their site could be extremely difficult, if not impossible, depending on how serious the weather was. Everyone in town depended on each other. By now, there were stores, a hotel, boarding house, stables, and pack animals. The population was estimated to be in the low 100s, but one record listed that during the winter in 1878, 9 families stayed on to make a go of things. For Christmas, they were apparently well supplied, as they had a sumptuous feast and were all well fed. By 1882, Burrows Park was described as a lively camp, and people seemed to be making a go of it. Even the hotel boasted a regular flow of visitors, and no doubt the spectacular scenery involving towering summits drew those interested in seeing the beautiful Colorado Rockies. One faithful postal carrier reportedly crossed the Alpine summits using horses during the warmer months and snowshoes over the summits in winter, crossing foreboding passes to bring the mail to and from town. Not much is known about the personal lives and histories of the people who once lived here, but an occasional story survives here and there. One such incident tells of a miner who used a coffee pot to store the black powder he used for blasting in the mine. One day, he mistakenly put his black powder pot on the stove instead of the one he should have used for coffee. History doesn't tell us what the outcome was, but it must have left an explosive impression on everyone. As ore veins are dug out and processed, they either extend too deep in the earth to pursue or simply run out. And by 1912, the Burrows Park mining camps were in decline. The heydays were over and people began to leave. Through the years, all the camps and towns were completely abandoned, leaving only a few structures and remnants of its previous mining operations. Today, the ghost town sites among Burrows Park are definitely worth a visit, providing you have a high-clearance vehicle to traverse the gravel and sometimes rocky roads getting to the area. The scenery is amazing and breathtaking, and best done during the late summer months when the snows are melted off and access to these high elevations are possible. If you do visit, make sure your vehicle is in good working order with good tires and some emergency supplies to have on hand in case of unforeseen engine troubles. Animas Forks is an outstanding ghost town to the west and over the pass from Burrows Park, but the four-wheel drive trail leading to it can be difficult.